They shut their eyes. Even there is no compliance. Because we don't see, and you'll be so surprised how we don't look at customers, we don't look at colleagues, we don't look at family members, we don't look at our parents, our spouses, our children, we just don't look. We don't see, it is an epidemic. It is an epidemic, we just don't see. Darshan nahi karte hain. If you look, you will realize that people are 99% animals. This is the biggest thing that you don't realize. From a genetic point of view, 99% of our genetic material is shared with the animal kingdom. So all the animal behavior is in our memory. Only 1% makes us human. So if we understand animals better, we can understand humans better. We don't see that. We don't see this correlation. We are different because we wear clothes, we are different, we drive cars, we have mobile phones, we are not animals. But billions of years, animals, the last few billion years humans have emerged, carrying all the genetic material, all the memories, all those ideas, it's all inside. And in crisis, whenever there is a crisis, the genetic memory takes over and we respond like animals. Those who are familiar with neuropsychology would know, neurobiology would know, there is a reptilian brain, there is a limbic brain, there is a cognitive brain. So there is the animal inside us. So suddenly you realize humans can be very territorial. Like a dog marking territory. Have you met people like this? Highly territorial. This is mine, don't touch it. And you'll meet people in conflict situation. Fighting, my way or the highway. Suddenly, we don't think of this wild bulls and rams fighting because in the jungle, that's what happens. Only one can dominate. And have you met a peacock? You meet them all the time, showing off. Look at me, how beautiful I am, smart and I am, better than you. Continuously. The moment the boss comes, then immediately the peacock will spread. And we're doing this, we just don't realize that we pashu hai. Because human beings are pashu. We don't realize that migration happens in animals, migration happens in humans also. We always look for greener pastures, better jobs, better workplaces, better bosses. We are continuously migrating in search of pasture. We are moving, and that's the way it is. The thing is, a pecking order. Every animal herd or pack has a pecking order. There's an alpha and an omega. You'll see this in organizations. You'll see this in families. In South India, there's a very famous line after marriage. When you meet a newly wedded couple, they crack a joke. Is your house Chidambaram or Madurai? All the South Indians would know perhaps this. Because if it's a Madurai household, it means the lady of the house controls the house. If it's Chidambaram, the gentleman controls the house. So there's an acknowledgement that it varies. Different structures exist, but there will always be one person who dominates. Pecking order. And of course this predator and prey. You can see the prey and you can see the predator chasing. And this is the primary thing in nature. The quest for food. So now let us do darshan of this thing and observe this carefully. And I always ask people, when you see a cheetah chasing a deer, instinctively, who would you want to save? The deer, right? Our natural instinct, we identify with the deer without thinking. In nature, there is no animal which is a favorite of nature. Nature does not love or hate any animal. It loves the cheetah equally to the deer. Both animals have been given strengths and weaknesses. He who runs fast will survive. He who runs faster will survive. Nature does not distinguish who is better, who is verse. Who should live, who shouldn't live. Nature doesn't do that. Prakriti में कोई बेचारा नहीं होता. But the moment human beings come, we decide, oh, the cheetah is the villain, the deer is the victim, I want to be the hero. I want to save that. So I decided who is the victim, I decided who is the villain, because I want to be the hero. So really, my gaze is determined by my needs. It has nothing to do with the hero. And that is darshan. Darshan. Look, how are you looking at the world? It is a reflection of who you are. And that is the interesting part, because if you start looking carefully at the cheetah or the predator, you will realize that the cheetah is frightened. What is the fear of the cheetah? Khana nahi milega. I will not get food to eat. If I don't get food to eat, my children will starve and die. I must get food. The fear of starvation comes from the fear of death. That's the great fear of the cheetah. And therefore the cheetah has a target. What's the Hindi word for target? Laksh. From Laksh comes Lakshmi. There we come to mythology again. Food, survival, resources, without which you cannot survive. Everybody, every person. At one time we were looking at harvest. Today we look at salaries, we look at bonuses. A company looks at revenue. A company looks at profit margins, top line, bottom line, growth, market share. We look at salary. Single income, double income, how much are we earning, what is the tax saving? Lunch. Why is it important? Because without that you won't survive. Your survival depends on this. Fear of the predator. This fear is in us also. The predator is inside us. And then you look at the prey. This is the prey. She has so much to eat, so much luxury, but she is completely frightened. Why is she frightened? She's hungry for something else. She doesn't want food, she wants something else. What does she want? Protection. She is seeking what is called panam chahiye. I want shelter, I want something to protect me. You know, if you ask the cheetah who is lucky, the cheetah will say the deer is lucky, because the deer, you see, the cheetah eats only once in 10 days. But the deer eats every day, so the deer must be lucky, right? But you ask the deer who is lucky, the deer will say the cheetah eats once in 10 days, but it eats a full stomach. A deer can never eat a full stomach, because when your stomach is full, you cannot run. And so everybody, this is nature's zero-sum game. So what does the deer want? It wants security. In olden days, in order to make ourselves secure, we built a wall around the house. Then we started building fortresses. What is the Hindi word for a fortress? Kila. Gard. Durg. Durg comes Durga, another goddess. So Lakshmi, Durga, she's holding weapons. Why do you hold weapons? To feel secure, to protect. So suddenly we talk about security, power, Shakti, that which protects. And now look, when the baby is crying, how does a mother respond? First she will check, is the baby hungry? If the baby is not hungry, she will check, is the baby scared? And she will comfort the child. So there are two things that the baby wants, Lakshmi and Durga. So the predator is inside us, the prey is inside us, both is inside us. It happens in business also. When you have a business, the first thing you check is, am I achieving my target? Short-term goal. The next thing that you check is, have you de-risked yourself? Are the processes being followed? Are you following all the legal and contractual obligations? Is your auditor maintaining everything correctly? Why? Because you want to protect yourself from a lawsuit, from a collapse. So this continuously, this is one level you're thinking revenue, another level security. Revenue security, food security. Lakshmi Durga. Or you go to a shop to buy a washing machine. What is the first thing you check? You will check value for money. Is it value for money? I'm paying 20,000, 30,000 rupees, am I getting all the features? After that, you will check, once you sign the deal, you will check, what do you check? You will check whether there is guarantee, there is warranty, there is after sales service. In other words, you want to feel secure. And you suddenly realize how we are not different from the animal kingdom. So what makes us special? We are animals with larger brains. That's what makes us special. We have a larger brain that enables us to think. We have one feature that animals don't have, or at least don't have in the human scale. You see, we can imagine. Animals can't imagine in the human scale. They do imagine. The crow can imagine. All the problem-solving animals can imagine. But nothing in the human scale. We can imagine anything. Because we can imagine, you can visualize the future, you can have foresight, you can do planning, you can imagine what is going to happen next, you can invent, you can innovate, you can have hypothesis, and therefore thesis, and therefore knowledge. All that happens because of imagination. If you didn't have imagination, you would only eat, sleep. You wouldn't think of providing for the future. You wouldn't think it, you will not wait for a crisis to solve it. You will try to prevent crisis. You will anticipate crisis. All this happens because you can imagine. You see, because you can imagine, a cheetah only thinks of today's dinner. We think of tomorrow's dinner, day after tomorrow's dinner, dinner after 10 years, my children's dinner, my grandchildren's dinner. 10 generations का dinner. I'll make so much money that 10 generations will not starve. It has continued to make money. Because our imagination is working over time. Or the other is this. You see, when a deer gets scared, when does a deer get scared? When it can see a tiger, smell a tiger, or hear a tiger. Humans can imagine a tiger all the time. So who is more scared? And that's the power of imagination. In Sanskrit, the word imagination is equated with water. Saras, that which is fluid, that you cannot control, that you can contain in a river like Sarovar, lake, or like a river, Sarita. Hence the word Saraswati. Imagination, it is the source of knowledge. And we don't value imagination in our life, but yet imagination is the most powerful thing. You can imagine zero, you can imagine infinity. You can imagine that tomorrow will be a better day. You can imagine tomorrow everything will collapse. At this moment, you can just use your imagination and get into depression. At this moment, you can imagine and feel good about yourself. And the most interesting thing about imagination is this. This is a bird looking into the mirror. What does it see? It can only, a typical brain of an animal asks only 4 questions. Is that a predator? Is that a prey? Is that a mate? Or is that a rival? If it is not a predator, it is not a prey, it is not a mate, it is not a rival, it doesn't care. It walks away. But what happens when humans look into the mirror? This is Narcissus from Greek mythology. He looks at his reflection. What does he see? Does he see himself? Or does he see his imagination of himself? What do I see when I look into the mirror? What do I see? What do we do as selfies? What are we doing? And the thing is, I looked into the mirror one day and I thought I was tired. Then I went to office during appraisal time. And I met my boss. And my boss said, you're not diamond, he said, you're plastic. So I got a plastic ka bonus instead of diamond ka bonus. So I went home and I met my wife and I asked her, what do you think? Am I diamond or am I plastic? And he said, no, you're not diamond, you're not plastic, you are cheap plastic. And I got very is the truth? Is diamond the truth? Is plastic the truth? Or is cheap plastic the truth? Or are they different? My truths and your truths. It is my imagination which is calling me a diamond. It is my boss's imagination that makes me plastic. It is my wife's imagination that makes me cheap plastic. And look at the havoc it causes in my life. My self-worth, my self-esteem depends on imagination. That is success. Because we are continuously wondering, how do I see myself and how do others see me? We live in the sea of imagination. We don't realize it. That right now, imagination everywhere. See, we don't live in the world, we live in my world and your world. I live in my world, you live in your world. There are 100 people in this room. There are 100 my world, subjective